Hello Galactic family. Welcome aboard. Gaia Planetary Station is happy that you like the messages and information we communicate. Help the channel to grow by subscribing, commenting on the video, sharing, becoming a member and donating to the channel. We always appreciate good energies and vibrations. We are together in this new era ground crew. Stay strong. Victory of light. Hello Galactic family, Merlin shares a deep message specifically regarding the weeks leading up to the first Pluto return in the US chart on 2.20.2022. My question, we are now in the second half of January. We've passed the Cancer full moon. We've passed the lunar nodes changing signs. We are now moving into the month prior to the Pluto return for the US on February 20th. What is it that you would like to share regarding this next period of time? Note, Merlin at times refers to himself in the plural, using we. He works with many angelic beings. Merlin, this is a very exciting time for everyone. There is a lot of crystallization, I should say, crystallization of plans of the destiny of the Earth and humanity. The direction that is now firmly in play and very much heading in a direction of awakening. The awakening is the initial setting free aspect of the big shift, as more and more people start questioning and thereby are looking outside of the box and creating that awakening as a result. As that ongoing process continues and strengthens and speeds up, the integration of the new energy will be so much easier. Because there is a willingness to look beyond the regular ways of doing things, past ways of doing things. And even though a lot of this will be unconscious, there will be new behaviors, new approaches, new openness and flexibility, welcoming the whole gamut of expressions that can exist when we deal with any major topic, such as is ongoing on Earth right now. So it is important to trust that this process is happening. Though you may not be able to see it and consciously notice the subtle shifts, they are actually in play. Trust is very important for those who are already on the open-hearted path. The open-hearted path is the path of the future. And what it means is that you cannot hold grudges. You cannot hold discontent. You cannot sit there in judgment of another. The open-hearted path is truly what the word means. Your heart is not closed to any other perspective. It is welcoming. Open is welcoming. An open door means you are welcoming. So an open-hearted path is the path of no resistance. It's the path of compassion. It's the path that goes beyond measurement, measuring whether someone lives up to a certain standard. That sense of measurement will actually fall away naturally, because it will be seen for what it is, a false sense of making yourself feel better than another. That's basically it in a nutshell. So the measurement of anything aside from a physical object, or the measurement of something that is 3D, as opposed to a personality or a performance or anything related to the non-physical reality, this is no longer going to be useful in this open-hearted path. Because the open-hearted path is fully accepting of all ways and all expressions. How can they be measured against each other if there's full acceptance? So this is really the key. Now I don't want to go too far beyond this next month, because this is one of those turning points where the adjustments within each of you is absolutely crucial and destined to happen. So we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, because then you involve the mind. Once it's not experiential, the mind will try to make up for the gaps that not understood. And this is how we get into fear and worry. It's only when you are experiencing that you are not thinking. You are just being. So we want all of you to focus just on this moment now, keeping in mind the heart-centered path everyone is on at this time. So that is our message. And may it resonate with you. the delight that you feel when you are set free from comparing yourself either positively or negatively to others, that will definitely be something you won't feel aligned with. And when you see it in front of you, you will notice all the manipulation and the self-centeredness and the power games that go on when these comparisons and judgments are made. You will really see them now. It will be very clear. There will be things exposed. Agendas and methods of operation that are totally not heart-centered will be seen much more clearly at this time. So it is to see them, and not to judge them either. This is really the key here. When you see something that you know in your heart is not right, or is not compassionate, it's not to judge it as wrong. It is just to acknowledge that it exists and rise above it, otherwise you'll be joining again in the judgment game. So be clear on that. It is the acceptance and noticing, and the rising above, the choosing of the open-hearted path that truly is where you will be set free from this, me versus you or us versus them mentality. The us versus them is going to come to a head. And the only reason is that it needs to be seen for what it is. Otherwise it's not visible if it doesn't come to a head, right? It's coming to a climax. So the us versus them theme, especially in 2022 with the 3 twos, there are two sides to a coin. That us versus them theme will absolutely come to a head. Allow it to come to a head. And then, as you appreciate the awakening that takes place as a result, you are poised in your heart-centered path to heal, because you're not participating in the division. So the only choice really is to be on the compassionate path, on the heart-centered path. That's the only choice. And if you choose not to, or others choose not to, it's not to be judged. So there is a paradox, as always, but that is life. That's what makes life so fascinating and beautiful and adventurous. So be in your heart-centered space. Do things that calm you down. Get plenty of rest. And we wish you a beautiful period now where the gestation of everything that's come before is about to birth the extraordinary new age. We love you. We cherish you and we send you so much love. Merlin love and blessings. I am being made aware more and more of how the ancient and sacred sites are being reactivated and now synchronized with the new earth. Many of these centers were deliberately shut down when Atlantis fell, and the great floods happened, and although some had later civilizations build other structures upon the original structures, they could never access the immense high technology and the knowledge and sacred energies of these places, as the Earth had by then sunk into the third dimension and humans could not access the higher dimensional states and especially what was stored in higher dimensional energy fields. Note that this energetic connection is not just in physical sites that we know of, but many have been carefully hidden and indeed sunk under the sea, or were deeply buried when the earth changes happened, and some were indeed sealed off, as said. Yet this extends to the nature and animal kingdoms as well, and inclusive of the elemental kingdom, who withdrew their energies, because the Atlanteans were abusing them. Trees are wisdom keepers, and indeed the most ancient trees have keys and codes within them, which have been programmed into them for millions of years on Earth, and they will now start to work intensely with humans who are ready to work with them, and indeed who are ready to transmit such knowledge and use it for the greater good of all. The sacred geometries with all trees and plant life is now raising into the higher dimensional states, and thus the medicinal properties of these species will indeed assist humankind to regain perfect health and vitality and longevity. Thus keep your diet and medicines natural. Use energy healers if you need to, as well as crystals, for the crystal already carry the 5th to 7th dimensional state and are now being activated to the 9th. They too hold sacred geometries and sacred keys and codes. They are living beings just as you are, and so are all trees, plants, flowers, animals, for all have souls. Even rocks have souls and are record keepers and co-creators. This why in ancient sites I visit, I will always feel the rocks and place my hands on them, for they transmit information and energies in ways that humans have all forgotten about. As the higher dimensional state of the 5th to 7th now are firmly anchored into the new Earth, with the 9th and 12th already accessible to certain high-caliber souls, we will find that drastic Earth changes occur. Yet, know that as these energy centers wake up and indeed come into operation again, as the whole universe has shifted into a much higher creational state, it will have a ripple effect on the web of light, and thus on the Earth as well. As they rise, the old Earth grids will indeed disintegrate, as the new Earth's web of light is already formed and present. This new grid is of the 5th-12th dimensional frequency band, and indeed is a totally new creation, even surpassing that of what has been before. Therefore earthquakes, volcanoes erupting, even dormant ones, floods, droughts, extreme temperatures, etc. will be occurring, and as all now is either in a state of disintegration, or in total new birth, with the new Earth making her presence felt very powerfully now. I was being made aware of certain sites here in Africa, as I was made aware of others around the Earth, and indeed what I see makes my heart and soul fill with joy, at the new creation and the fact that in the new Earth vibrational frequencies we will be able to access the information again, and utilize it, for the greater good, AS1. Our cells and DNA have been totally renewed as we are assuming our new Adam-Cadman bodies, and indeed this applies to all life forms on Earth. We are in a huge phase of transformation and transfiguration on all fronts now, and the Earth is no different. The new Earth is indeed vibrant, alive and pulsating with new life and new beginnings, new life forms, and indeed a new humanity. What a time to alive on planet Earth and being able to witness this. Just as our Sun has moved into the sign of Aquarius in the tropical zodiac, a powerful blast of an M5 solar flare has occurred at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time EST on Thursday, January 20, 2022, with further strong blasts coming from our Sun's far side. The Sun is also showing that more M-class flares are possible due to sunspots indicating beta-gamma force for them. Solar winds, which drive the flares forth, have been traveling for several days in the upper 500s and 600s in kilometers per second. A coronal mass ejection has also occurred that is supposedly not Earth Gaia directed. However, all solar events affect our planet because of the enormity of the Sun in relationship to our planet. Ancient Vedic scriptures teach that our Sun is 108 times the circumference of our planet. This is one of the reasons why prayer malas have 108 beads with a 109th guru bead at the center. This center bead represents Source, He, author of all creation. All solar happenings activate our planet in various ways. Solar photons are electromagnetic particles of light. Thus, a solar flare consists of particles of light, and light is comprised of the often stated process of light and sound transmission and reception. We have trillions of cells in our physical vessels, and each one has DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, all of which carries genetic information. Our DNA is continually transmitting or sending information throughout our material system of organs, glands, muscles, tissues, etc., as well as out into the ethereal realm. Because our spiritual or ethereal self is the origination of our being, and thus the divine womb of our fertilization, gestation, and birth, which is Source, transmits informational codes via cosmic frequencies to us for our upgrading. This is always happening, but it particularly occurs when DNA is filled with chaos and confusion predicated upon human misalignment with source frequency. He codes knowledge of sacred truth which our higher self or soul can impart to us if we are attuned to its messages. So, over various time frames, source has to clear, cleanse, and correct misinformation recorded in the cells of both our planet and us. We are transforming as our planet transforms. It has been said that consciousness is non-local. That is, it is not contained in the brain. Rather, it is a conceptualization of dimensions and awareness of higher information, factual knowledge, and wisdom. There are far more than merely 5 dimensions, so we are becoming multi-dimensional and are not just moving into a 5th-dimensional vibration from a 4th-dimensional bridge between the so-called 3rd and 5th dimensions. Humanity will reach these different dimensions based upon their individual knowledge acquisitions which are according to their spiritual development. Think of a classroom of students all of whom are studying the same subject. Perhaps it is literary developments or historical periods or scientific concepts, etc. Certain students will be ready for advanced information, and some will not. Each student will work at his or her own pace in order to understand the subject. Some, unfortunately, who simply cannot seem to process the information may have to drop the course. Some who are also having a difficult time may not drop the course, but they will work very hard to receive a passing grade. In the same manner as this metaphor, there will be some people who will advance to great levels of superconsciousness, some who will decide that spiritual development is just too difficult to deal with and will seem to wander about through many confused notions, and some who will eventually come to a place of great development after an arduous struggle to elevate. Yet, all the while, light for DNA upgrading will be offered to each. However, the reception of the light will be sometimes interfered with by individual belief systems, many of which will have been programmed into the brain. How is the programming done? It is accomplished through purposeful television programming and commercials, via unhealthy fast food, by chemical drugs, with political regulations, with social control, through religious indoctrination, and more. However, there is a proverb which states, "Man plans, and God plans." In the realm of spiritual science, sound comes from the higher self, his superconsciousness in communion with us, its intuitive or audio messages, its visions, its ultimate knowingness transmitted to us because it is actually source. Light is then the knowledge acquired via the communion or attunement to the higher self or source. Sound is also a vibrational frequency or a movement of energy. Light is energy or life force. Therefore, light and sound transmission and reception is life force frequency, and its telegraph office is our superconsciousness of spiritual electromagnetics which are being offered to our planet in this now through the sending forth of powerful solar flare codes which are initially written by the great central sun. Whether they arrive with head-on force or from far-side glancing blows, they are particularly potent at upper C-class, all M-class and certainly at all X-class strengths. And this is when light activation symptoms are usually intense, headaches, dizziness, clogged sinuses, heart palpitations, exhaustion, sleeping less if at all, strangely vivid dreams, painful muscles and joints, anxiety, and more. This is the labor of unveiling of our true selves, the removal of outworn cellular records, the upgrading to crystalline superconsciousness from carbon consciousness. The lighting up of our DNA. The symptoms gradually become less and less as we level up more and more because we are acclimating to our new selves. There will be days of feeling very vitalized but also days of feeling out of sorts or imbalanced. This is due to going up and down in this spiral-like transformational process, but leveling up is steadily being achieved by many. Cosmic events do indeed also have an actual sound. It can sometimes be heard through certain types of technological equipment as static-like impulses. Sometimes they have interferences on earthly technology, such as when satellites are sent up for scientific developmental purposes, all of which are advantageous, such as the concern over 5G radiation. In this regard, tape a small piece of shungite black with a shiny cast or amazonite, a bluish-green stone, to your cell phone and place a piece beside your home and office computer, telephone, and other technology. Also, wear shungite and amazonite. They have been scientifically researched to be protective against EMF's harmful electromagnetic frequencies. Wear them as pendants, bracelets, or even as prayer malas. Each of these gemstones also have the following health benefits: soothing to the nervous system, strengthening of immune system, balancing of the chakras, cleansing of water. Tiny chips can literally be placed in water overnight, and the water ingested the next day is sure to strain out the shungite particles, gives vitality, balances hormones, ensures better nightly sleep, and alleviates aches and pains. Shungite is from the village of Shunga in the town of Karelia in Russia. It is used in health spas there and now also in other wellness centers around the world. The best amazonite is derived from the South American region of the Amazon and is named after an ancient strong civilization of women. Further, some cosmic sounds are the different realms or dimensions that are becoming easier to hear as galaxies receive more light. Ringing in the ears is often a sign of this. As has been pointed out previously, it takes approximately 3 days for the vibrations of flares to arrive onto Earth Gaia and into us, and then it takes about 3 days to acclimate to them. However, most people are now activated upon their arrival, during their heightened energetics as well as during the afterglow of their activations. Many people feel the cosmic energetics before they are reported as having even been detected in scientific institutes and laboratories. We are the spiritual technology, and the traditional scientific arenas are now becoming only the confirmations of what we receive ahead of their equipment. Light and sound will continue, and it will steadily advance in its messaging. The more that we focus on our spiritual development, the easier that we will understand the subject matter of the Cosmic University and its texts, which are the cosmic holy books. Let us study well and listen to the lectures of Source Frequency. This year and beyond will be filled with greater cosmic events as a new Earth regenerated planet and a brighter light-filled galaxy is formulated. We are also being offered the opportunity of becoming new, regenerated, and filled with brighter light. It is up to us, our free will, to remain in the class, to not drop the course, to eventually receive our multi-dimensional degrees. You all of humanity are awakening. There are signs of this all around you, so let go of any doubts or negative judgments about it, and allow yourselves to become aware of these signs. As you do so, you further strengthen and empower the flow of love, the life force that enlivens you and your human bodies, as it flows through you and out into the collective energy field of humanity, intensifying everyone's sense of the imminence of the awakening. To do this, and just this, is why you are presently incarnate as a human on planet Earth at this precise moment of now. Each one of you made the most positive, personal, and individual choice to be here now. So, now that you are here, allow yourselves to know this, and then at least once daily reset your intent to share and extend the love that you are to all of humanity, thus gently and compassionately nudging all towards wakefulness. Your awakening is inevitable, you know this, and your earthly presence in this now moment with such powerful loving intent is bringing it to fruition. Congratulate yourselves. And keep on being and expressing the love that you all are. As you all know, when you choose to go deep within yourselves to that holy inner sanctuary, always present within each and every one of you without exception. You often meet your egos encouraging you to doubt or dismiss this holy truth as they attempt to strengthen your self-doubts and feelings or beliefs that you are guilty sinners, unworthy of Mother Father God's infinite love for you. Even if at an intellectual level you do not believe this, at the heart level many have great difficulty in accepting themselves as the perfect divine children of our infinitely wise, compassionate, and loving Source who truly knows each one of us as an absolutely perfect and inseparable part or aspect of the totality that is all, that is itself, and that therefore must also be you. Many of you have heard the phrase, the chosen ones of God. This has very frequently been massively misunderstood to mean that God chooses to love and accept those whom various religious organizations judge to be good, and rejects those who are judged unworthy or sinners by those same organizations. Nothing could be further from the truth. There is only love. Love is all, is Mother Father God, is Source, and therefore all sentient life whether in form in the physical realms, or beyond the physical realms is eternally, and without ever, even for the briefest moment, separated from that state. This means that none are rejected. Rejection isn't possible because love is utter and complete acceptance of all that it knows and creates. There is nothing that was not created, there is only and solely what Source creates, and what Source's creations themselves create, which are always very expressive extensions or expansions of love. All sentient life in form is love expressing itself individually in an unreal or illusory state, a dream. And all sentient life in form is presently, right now, in the process of awakening from that unreal state. It was entered into as a momentary experiment to discover if separation was possible and, for those who chose to participate, it has seemed to be a very real state in which life, inevitably followed by death, was filled with pain, suffering, and constant threats to its existence. Unreality seems to have been in existence for countless, indeed for infinitely long and possibly endless eons. The collective has now and finally, seemingly after untold eons which in reality has been but the briefest of instants that you can imagine, come to the realization that the dream illusion serves no good purpose and has chosen to let it go, thus choosing collectively to awaken. Your awakening back into reality is an ongoing process within the game of unreality that has, of course, been completed. The collective has chosen to awaken, and now each individual also has to make the free will choice to do so. The vast majority are doing so, now. Nevertheless, there are a few, a very small minority, who are because of the invalid beliefs to which they are clinging at present refusing to awaken. Those choices will be honored. Love never forces or coerces, it loves, which is all that it can do and be, having no other will or desire. Therefore it will wait patiently for as long as it takes. Remember, there is no time for those few unwilling ones to also come to the realization that the game serves no purpose for them, and then also choose to awaken. There is no judgment, there is no rejection, there is no damnation. There is love. To awaken into that state in which you are eternally present, in which many still remain presently unaware of reality, is a miracle of wonder and magnificence beyond your wildest dreams. Infinite joy and peace most lovingly await your awakening. In meditation yesterday morning I was given a message to share with everyone from the Council of Light that I work with. Two beings shared information as there was much excitement. First council member, many are feeling that the Earth system and humanity are lost and will not be able to right itself. There will be much information in the coming time to confirm the supposition. We would like to share with you that this is not the truth. Your Earth is not dying, nor are her people. Humanity and the planet will survive this transition. Yet, if the creative potential of humanity is derailed into a catastrophe, of asteroids, starvation, war, and other cataclysmic events. This transition will be made much harder for all. With the intensity and frequency of the information coming at the population, discernment is difficult yet paramount to master. We have urged each of you through the years to master discernment, to master your truth. It was for precisely this time. For to move through this transition with greater ease, one must be able to see through the fabricated reality into the truth. To see through the overlay that has been created. We have urged each of you to use your heart space as a guide, as your place within to center. We have also urged you to spend time in nature to help clear the distortions within the field that create a disconnect from your highest aspect and source. Now we are urging you to connect with nature not only for the clarity but for the connection itself. The interface that made such interaction with nature and her kingdoms difficult is no longer in place. It could not maintain itself in the vibrational rise of the planet. Many will find themselves connecting more with the previously unseen kingdoms of nature and through this interaction healing. It is important to make note that the interface or overlay that keeps us from connecting fully with nature is no longer present because it could not stay active in the increasing vibration of the world and her people. This is why it is so important to keep our vibration high and to heal what brings it low. With our very vibration, we shift the world. Second council member then spoke. The sun will continue to be very active as you go forward in this transition. There is much activity that is not recognizable by your instruments, yet the sensitive among you will feel these energies. The information being sent no longer simply contains awakening and remembering codes, it now holds codes for your next steps. Each person carries within them coding that is to be activated, turned on when the time is right. That time is now. You have moved into a new phase at a personal and planetary level that will bring about large shifts within the micro level of your world. The macro level will be affected when enough have shifted their micro. We ask that each person draw their focus within. What can you do to make your life more aligned with your truth? This is the most important question to be asked at this time. Do not wait for the world to align with you, rather align to your truth, your knowing, and let the world do what it will. The coding coming forth is activating the next steps of this journey, awakening it within you, yet it is through your alignment that this activation becomes action and direction. It is through action that you ground the information into something tangible. You may notice that pervasive unease and anxiety are being felt by many. This may be interpreted as incoming doom-gloom. In fact, you will find confirmation of the doom-gloom in your media. Yet, that is not the reason for the unease, unless that is the desired outcome you wish to create. The unease is your indicator that something within your personal world is out of alignment. There may be something that needs to be seen, understood, or an action that needs to be taken. This will be heightened as you receive the codes that awaken you to your next steps. To understand what the unease is telling you, quieting your mind and ensuring that you are as clear as possible will be essential. If your mind and body, both physical and etheric, are busy with all that the world would like you to pay attention to, deciphering your next steps will be much more difficult. This is where maintaining the integrity of your energetic field and connecting with nature will assist you greatly. I questioned how this could make people feel that have not connected in with themselves or begun the process of honoring self, and it was described as a fire alarm going off that you can only feel, not hear. This has the potential to be very overwhelming. Understanding this will make our interactions with people easier. Many of you will find yourselves energized with ideas and receiving confirmations. This is particularly for those who have felt that their journey has been in a holding pattern. Others will begin to grasp their potential and what their heart holds. Many will find themselves asking, "What does my soul want?" This can be different from what the human wants. Upon glimpsing this truth, their task will be to move through the limitations created by a fixed world. These codes coming in from your sun will be sent in intervals so that there is time for integration between each activation. Simultaneously you will find that your sun is also exhibiting increased activity that can be categorized. You may find that there is a pattern between the two. There is much excitement and joy as reaching this phase of ascension has been an anticipated event. We want you to know that you are loved and guided. The next steps of our evolution are being activated within you. Allow them to unfold within your heart and then breathe them into existence within your physical plane. I thank the council members for their message. This morning I was on Facebook and saw this message from Jennifer Hoffman, that she posted on January 18th, the same day I received the channeling. Her Facebook page can be found at Jennifer Hoffman Facebook. Today we have another big energy event which is a highlight of this year, the change in the lunar nodes to Taurus Scorpio, something that happens every 1.5 to 2 years and 19-year cycles. So go back to April 14, 2003, which is the last time we had the lunar nodes in this position, and I point this out because it's when we started on the active phases of this ascension cycle. Prior to that it had been happening in the background and then it became very public. It's the year I was first contacted by Archangel Uriel in October and I started writing and channeling, as did Karen Bishop and others who were pioneers in the ascension work. We're coming full circle on that cycle and starting a new one. It's Ascension 2.0 starting today. This is a beautiful confirmation of what the council was saying. We have entered a new phase of ascension. I hope that you are well and finding you embracing more of who you are at the deepest level every day. Thank you to all that support and share this work. It really means the world. If you share, please share the entire post with the website link so that others can subscribe and find me. Social media is shifting rapidly and profiles are often disappearing. Dear brothers and friends of planet Earth, I am Anamani. For those who don't remember, I am a solar being. Being here today is to bring good news, to bring good energy, to bring love and light. The light is all around your planet. There is no longer a little piece, a little hole or hole that is not illuminated by this light. For it is not a light as you know it, where you meet an obstacle and it refracts. It is a light that corresponds to a frequency, where there is no obstacle, no limit that prevents it from acting. Within the technology that you know on your planet, nothing is not receiving this light. But there are still beings on your planet who know how to protect themselves from it, for it is not something from this dimension. But I can assure you, they are trapped, they have nowhere to go. And little by little, each one of these beings is being removed from the planet. Within the divine laws and always respecting what they decide to do with their walks. Many wonder, if there is so much light coming to the planet, why everything still seems so dark. I would say that on a windy day, if your windows are open, dust will come in, dirt, sand, whatever is floating in the air will come in. Passing any object where you visually see the particles will not clean the whole environment. Only if you are willing and able to pull out your furniture, your utensils, will you be able to effectively clean every little dust that has entered your home. So what is this incoming light doing? I assure you that the visible dust has already been removed, it has already been cleaned. Only you have no idea of the extent of the dark part, the hidden part. You populate half of your planet. No. Not even half. To make it easier for you to understand, 2/3 of your planet is water, and the half of this 1/3 that is left, which is Earth, you populate. The part where you don't populate has already been cleaned up. Because we had the chance to treat each point, without having to worry at any time about hitting you. So this work is still being done, which is the treatment of the animals, the marine animals and all the animals that still populate your Earth. All the fauna and all the flora. It is being returned, all the original structure of every living being on this planet, removing all the genetic modifications that have been done. So what is still missing? The part where you are living. So for this light to work, every piece of furniture, every utensil, must be taken out of place, for the cleansing to take place. Bringing it into your world, every action, every existing problem has to surface, to be cleaned. There is no way to clean up something that doesn't show up, everything has to come to the surface to be dealt with. So this feeling that your world is getting worse or worse is not true. This has always been your world. It's just that you didn't see it, didn't realize it, or didn't want to see it. It was comfortable for you to live with all that dirt and let it go. Now you need to clean up that mess. But a lot of it we can't clean up, because it is part of the consciousness of humanity, it is part of everything that you believe and still worship. So we can just come along and clean it all up. You have to learn on your own to clean up the mess you have created. And how is this all done? By raising the consciousness of the people on the planet, for when that consciousness is raised, problems are dealt with definitively and they go away. So as long as you don't raise the consciousness in relation to the existing problems, the cleansing is not done. Not everything we can do, and when I say we, not only we the solar beings, but all the beings of light who are committed to raising this planet. As long as you keep your consciousnesses vibrating at the same frequency as the problems, nothing will change, you will keep feeding the problem. So the great wisdom is to rise above the problem, to see the problem with the eyes of light, with the eyes of the heart. Not with anger, not with disdain, not with malice. Everything anywhere in the universe is vibrational frequency. So whoever vibrates at the frequency of the problem, feeds the problem. Whoever vibrates above, stops feeding the problem. And if everyone raises their consciousness, the problem disappears because it can no longer be fed. Perhaps this is the great wisdom that the people of this planet need to learn. You vibrate the problems. You don't see a solution to anything, you just complain and vibrate in the same frequency range as the problem. And those who are still in hiding, trying to do just that on the planet, continue to act through the tools that they have. So do this homework. Stop vibrating in the same band as the problem. Don't comment on the problem, don't complain about the problem, take the focus off the problem, and the problem will die, because no one else will feed it. As long as you vibrate in the range of the problems, they will only increase. And the feeling that nothing happens, that everything only gets worse, is true, and it will be so more and more, until you learn not to feed what bothers you. Just never forget one important factor, the planet is rising, and it is a process that cannot be stopped. Then there will come a time when you will pass into the fifth dimension. And who will? Those who have learned not to vibrate problems, those who have learned to vibrate love, those who have learned to vibrate harmony, the beauty of the world. And those who continue to feed the problems, unfortunately will not have this chance, they will continue feeding the problems in another orb beyond, in the universe. This is the path, and there is no turning back. Gaia is walking her path and will take those who are ready with her at the final moment. Make your choices. You want to evolve, so learn to vibrate above the problems, not with them. Stop feeding the problem and it dies. Look at all the tools in your world that have just that intention, to feed the problem, and you will easily recognize where there is still the action of those who want to get in the way of the whole process. Open your hearts, let the light in, and be assured that it will effectively help you to vibrate above the problems. Like Gaia Planetary Station, I would like to thank you for being together to learn and grow the light. Improving every step and knowing that the energies of light are making an incredible cleaning of the universe and planet Earth is the great jewelry of this monumental change. All who are connected with their higher self must follow their own missions. Here I present some of the products of the store. Search to see if you like something. For those who want to make donations to the channel by PayPal, we have the donation link to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, be a channel member, always comment on the videos and click on like button. Thank you for the amazing messages, the fun conversations and participations in the chat of the videos. I am happy that many warriors of light are here, together in this new era of planet Earth. May the 2022 be an incredible year for everyone.